Okay. Hey guys, so we're going to be working on the last part of this project. So the very last thing for us is going to be skinning the rig to the mesh. So up to now, we've not really skinned a whole lot from Louise to her skeleton. But this particular project is going to be the last thing we're going to do. We're just going to skin it and finish this up. We'll also, if we need to do any like organization to kind of finish this up, we'll also do that. Although I don't think there's going to be much left to do. And then we'll also just kind of test and make sure everything works. So once we're done with this, then we're pretty much done with the assignment, with the project. So yeah. Um, so last thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and make sure that we have frozen transformations on all of our pieces of geometry. Also check and see if there's any like extra history. Now we do have blend shapes on the body geo, so we're not going to delete history on this because that'll delete the blend shapes. But I'm checking to see if there's anything else. Excuse me. Um, that might cause issues because the skin cluster deformer that we're going to be putting on here is it does need to be like one of the first things that comes in as an input for the model. Okay. What I'm going to do is go ahead and hit close. We'll turn that off so we just have the skin itself. And what I want to do is let's open up the joints group. We're going to go ahead and grab certain joints um, to attach to the rig, you know, or to the mesh. And these are going to be very specific. So like we're going to be grabbing the root joint, we're going to be grabbing like the hip, the knee, you know, the joints down here in the feet. But then like for the spine, since we have a ribbon spine, we're going to be grabbing the follicle joints, and we're going to be ignoring the spine joints. Same thing for the neck. We're going to be ignoring the neck joints, but grabbing the follicle joints for the neck. For the arms, we'll be grabbing only one set of arm joints, the skinning joints. Remember, we spent time naming those the skinning joints. We're going to be ignoring IK and FK joints, and then we'll be grabbing our finger joints as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to go ahead and click on root joint. I'm going to ignore spine joint 1, 2, 3, neck base 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go ahead and grab the head center joint, head top joint, jaw pivot, jaw tip. And then we'll grab the lower left lip and then grab the rest of the lip joints. I don't need the tongue joints because that's not the same geometry. I'll grab the nose, base, and tip. Eye center joint, I don't need. Right eye center joint, I'm actually going to add in. So yes, we'll do that. Left eye center joint, we will do that. Actually, you know what? Let's deselect those. We'll add those in. That'll be an addition in a little bit. Let's grab the other lips. Brow. She does have a brow geometry, so honestly, I think I could just kind of ignore that. If the brow is something where you want the skin to like move, then yeah, we could add that as well. But honestly, I'm going to leave the brows out. Let's go and grab the clav joint. Excuse me. Skinning shoulder, elbow, wrist. I don't need the null hand joint. I do need the finger joints. And then I don't need the IK. I don't need FK. Grab the right clav, skinning, shoulder, elbow, wrist. No null. Index joints, pinky joints, middle finger joints, and thumb joints. And then let's go ahead and ignore the IK and FKs again. Groin joint, grab that, hip, knee, ankle, ball, toe tip, pinky toe, ring toe, index toe. Remember, we model toes, we have to have toes. grab all of that. And I'm just holding control as I'm doing this. If you're on a Mac, it's probably going to be command. So shift is not going to be what you're grabbing right now, holding on to. Okay, so it's going to be all of that. And then I'm going to open up the miscellaneous group. And then we have our ribbon spine group. So I'm also going to go ahead and control click the follicle joints. Okay. All right. And I think that's going to be it. Now, if you miss anything, that's okay. You can add that back in after we create the skin cluster. Shift select the skin, go to rigging, skin, bind skin, options, selected joints. Very important, selected joints. Bind method, leave it at closest distance, applying close, and there we go. All right, so let's take a look. So I'm going to kind of move around. It's pretty good. This is going to be where we really need to spend time testing and seeing kind of how this character moves. So you need to test your characters. Don't just trust that it's going to work because it's probably not going to work, especially if this is your first time ever rigging a character. Even, I've been doing this for 15 years, and even then, I still have to go through and test everything. Now, if your arms shift significantly when you switch from IK to FK, maybe like the elbow moves or like something rotates, I would recommend that you switch your arms to FK when you before you skin it, so that the arms line up a little bit better to the skinning the bones. Sometimes an IK system can kind of shift the arm just a little bit. Is that pull vector constraint on that elbow can kind of cause that problem. So I would that pull vector constraint back here. Sometimes it can like move it around a little bit and it causes a shift. So just to be safe, I would switch it over to FK. All right, here's the fun. Let's see if this happens. Blue. That is ugly. We will fix it, but this is expected. All right, I have some other stuff I need to scan. So I'm gonna grab the eyeball, grab the left eye center joint, skin, bind skin, eyeball, right eye center joint, skin, bind skin. Okay. All right, so we have hair. We also have these little hair ties, and we have the hat. I'm going to go and take the head center joint, skin, bind skin. Okay. The dress, I'm going to skin it to, let's do, it's going to be basically on the joints um, that are nearest to the body. So I'm going to go and grab, let's do root joint, spine joint. So let's do left clavicle, skinning. So these two joints here. Now, if you have like a long shoulder or a long sleeve, you're gonna be grabbing more, but really like the clothing for it's pretty limited on where it's actually gonna be like reaching. So that should be fine for that one. Right clavicle, right skinning, shoulder. Um, so this will go down to let's do groin joint, hip joint. Um, It's close to the knee, but honestly, it shouldn't bend at the knee, so I'm going to leave the knee out. Right hip, right knee. No, not. Yeah, okay. And then I need to get my follicle joints. 1, 2, 6. Actually, I don't need all of this. So, okay, yeah, so I'll get rid of those. Okay, so those will be the ones I'm going to attach it to. All right, so I'm going to grab the dress and we'll do skin, fine skin. Okay, so now she should move along with it. All right, now shoes. That is going to be ankle, ball, and toe tip. I'm not going to worry about the individual toe joints. So that should be good. And we'll do skin, fine skin. All right. Okay. She does have a tongue. Do we skin that? I don't remember if we skin the tongue. All right. Let's test this out. So we have the teeth as well. All right. So let me grab the top teeth. And I'm going to go ahead and grab the top head center joint. And that is going to be skin, bind skin to the top jaw. And then bottom teeth, these are going to be going to the jaw pivot joint and skinning to that one. So when we open up that mouth, you'll see that the teeth follow where they should. Okay. It looks like the tongue itself is not following. So let's take off the skin layer. Okay. And then I'll go ahead and grab the tongue. And let's take the follicle joints. Remember, I'm not grabbing the control joints. I'm just grabbing the follicle joints. And then we'll just go ahead and skin the follicle joints to the tongue. And then now, because the control joints are controlling follicle joints, we can move that tongue around. Yeah, there we go. All right, let's check the eyes. Good. And then right here, got the eyebrow joints. Okay, so grab each one of these. Again, just skin it, fine skin. Okay. And then also these little eyelashes, I'm going to put them on the head center joint as well. Skin. Okay. All right. So that's a lot of it, but it's not all of it. So we need to actually do what's called weight painting. So what that means, I'm going to go ahead and take the clothing off, just leave the skin. And so what that means is we're going to go through and test the rig and check and see how well everything moves. And then we're going to paint areas that need to move a little bit better. So I'm kind of looking at like pinching, like in the hips, knees, ankles, shoulders, elbows, wrist, fingers, and then that mouth. We're going to get that mouth to open up, as well as the rest of the face to follow along properly. Okay. We'll also copy some of the skin weighting to our copy some of the skin weighting to our dress as well, so that she will be able to move around. Although it's not going to be, honestly, it's not going to be too hard. Because a lot of this is kind of, she's so skinny that like kind of auto weights really well. But anyway, all right, so we'll need to go through and do some testing. So what I want to do is go into the character, set a key with the hips, frame 20, and I'm just going to kind of bring her out, let her squat, bring her back up. Okay, so we kind of have an animation of her squatting down like that. Okay, so kind of what I'm looking at is issues. Is you'll see that the knees kind of lose some of their volume. We lose a little bit of volume here in the hips, and then the ankles actually pop up a little bit, despite the fact the ankles don't move. There's no movement in this bone right here, so that's not what I want. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of go in and paint some of this area. I'm going to click on the model, right click, paint skin weights tool. I have this set using the color ramp. I think that's a little bit easier for me to work with. So I'll encourage you to do the same. Mostly it's going to be replace and smooth for me. So let's go ahead and hop to it. So we should be able to see all the joints in here. If we are missing something and it needs to be added in, what we can do is click on the joint, click on the mesh, and then go under skin, edit influences, add influence, and that'll add it into the skin cluster. If there's something added in you want to remove, do the same thing again, grab the joint, grab the mesh, edit influence, remove influence, and it'll take it out of the skin cluster. So that's how you add stuff in. If you overlooked if you overlooked it, or if you added something in you shouldn't have added it. Okay. All right. So right now we're set at the root joint, groin joint, and then hip joint. So what I want to do is going to collapse the hips. Think about weight painting like this is like buckets. Each one of these vertexes here, here, here is a bucket that can only take so much influence. Now the influences can come from different directions. It can come from joints up here, joints down here, joints right here. And we want to kind of localize where that influence is coming from proper places. So let's say the groin joint is giving these vertexes some influence. The groin joint probably doesn't need to be giving the hips any influence, but the hip joint probably should be working mostly in this area. So if we add influence, it'll take away, if we add influence here on the hip joint, it'll take away influence from the root joint or the groin joint. So just to keep that in mind. If you add in stuff to the bucket, it'll overflow and take influence away from somewhere else. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's how I think about it. All right, so I'm gonna go to replace. I'll do a soft brush, turn down my opacity so I don't overdo it. Think of it like Photoshop. You can kind of add in influence. And let's see, where's that brush size? So, so small. Sometimes it gets a little weird like that. There we go. Okay. A little small. I don't need that much. I'm gonna focus on one side of the body because I can always go in and actually mirror my skin weights, and that should make them symmetrical. So that's going to be something I'm going to be focusing on. It's another usefulness of having properly symmetrical meshes. We can just kind of mirror stuff over and it doesn't cause issues for us. All right, so if we take a look, squat, let's see, there's a little bit more volume going on here versus here, okay? And if I go to smooth, let's see, actually kind of smooth out. So that's just a little bit right here, so it's not quite as like strict or crazy looking. Okay. Okay. So that's pretty good. Okay. Now let's go back up to groin. So that's kind of look. See, notice we're actually losing influence from this side because we're adding it in through the hip. And then the root is also kind of getting painted out as well. So think about it, it's just like painting it out kind of ends up taking stuff away from other joints, kind of works pretty well. All right, so we'll go down to the knee joint. So I'm going to reinforce down here. I want this to kind of keep its shape. See how that looks. See how now it's kind of like folding a little bit. And now we're losing pinching quite a bit right there. So I'm going to go in and kind of like smooth this out. And then I'm going to go back up to the hip and kind of smooth that out too. So I want it to, I do want it to pinch on the back, but I want it to not lose that volume as badly. So there we go, a little bit better. So I'm gonna go down to the ankle joint. So you'll notice that that ankle is kind of like lifting up. What I need to do is go in and reinforce that. So I'm gonna go back to replace. And this in a little bit more. I'm just gonna really focus on just really kind of like hammering in influence on this ankle area. You may see influence pop up on the other side. Paint that out, set your opacity to 0, and or opacity, I'm sorry, value to 0, opacity to 1, and paint it out so it's not there anymore. If it comes up blue, like up here, set your brush to like a hard square brush, and that should help you out. Okay, so see how now it's not, see how now it's not lifting up. Just gonna smooth this out just a little bit. Right. Let's give it a little bit of a blend right in here. Okay. So the ball joint right here, it's gonna be really important for it to be, we place it kind of somewhere right here in this part of the foot. So I'm gonna make sure add influence, not that much influence, add influence. Well, you'll see it's kind of like coming up into here. We don't need that to do that. So I'm gonna go down and actually wipe out the influence here in the toe area. And then toe tip, I'm actually going to take out, so we don't need the toe joints are really going to take care of that. Okay. So my general rule of thumb for working on weight painting rigs is I generally work from like the core, the root out. So here I'm working on the root, working my way down the leg, and then we'll get to the toes. I'm actually going to do the toes a little bit later. Well, you know what? Let's just do toes. Just might as well finish that up. But then like I'll go up the spine and then work on the chest out through the arms and then the head up to the top. So we will make sure is like the toes. So now we're kind of getting some bleed in over here. Is you'll want to paint out the toes themselves. So I'm gonna do this on one toe. I'm gonna show you where my expectation is. So I'm just gonna move that toe out. And this will be very similar to like the fingers as well. You'll go in and let's take, so if I want to, yeah, if I want to take out the value here, no, let's add value. So that'll be toe one. Toe two. I'm just kind of very gently, I'm just kind of like pulling the toe joints. You'll see them kind of like pop over. Okay, so I'm gonna do a little smooth, do a little flood smooth here, a little flood smooth there. Although I'm not really liking that. See, that's giving me some influence there, and I don't like that. Beat this out. Let's do replace value. I'm gonna bring this down a little bit softer. I'm just kind of clicking with the smoothing. Okay, there we go. So that's one toe. So you'll do that for the rest of them. Okay. And the one thing, I did notice this. Let's see. See, I kind of brought in like this part of the foot. We do want to make sure we're not bring that in too much. So let's say the ball of the foot. I'm going to go in and kind of paint it a little bit more here. Place. Just kind of push that. Okay, that should help. All right, cool. So, so that is one leg. And so what I can do now is I want to go ahead and just kind of mirror the skin whites over. So again, let's remind ourselves that's kind of what how the legs are looking. This one's kind of, not pinching very well. The ankle's popping up. And so if I go back to my T-pose, skin, mirror skin whites, I do it over the YZ axis. Painting on the positive X from here. So this is positive X, negative X is over here. Closest point on surface, positive to negative mirror. So then when I crouch down, you'll see that the angle doesn't pop up like it was before. That's been mirrored. Excellent. Okay, so let's go ahead and keep working. So I think the torso is going to be pretty easy, but let's go ahead and just do the follicle joints anyways. Okay, so I'm going to do replace, opacity, and just a little bit of influence here, a little bit of influence here. Again, remember that, this is where the follicle joints are going to be. So that one's kind of right there. This one's there. Okay, it's like just doing like a little band. Okay. Flat for smooth. Go up. There. Let's smooth that a little bit. Smooth that a little bit. I kind of just wanted to have like a nice movement. And I'm just kind of looking to see anywhere where like it should have influence, but it doesn't already have influence, and it's honestly pretty okay right now. We'll move around and see if there's anything that doesn't make sense. Good. Test this out. Can't emphasize this enough as you do this. Test it out. See how everything moves. If you don't like the way it moves, you need to go back and fix it. Because if you don't like the way it moves, I guarantee you I'm not going to like the way it moves. And if you're not sure, send me a video or some pictures, and I can give you some feedback. Okay. All right, so that brings us up through to the chest. So let's take a look. And this is how I do my arms. So actually, I'm going to go delete keyframes, delete. So let's just do this one. This. That elbow actually looks pretty good. It's not bad at all. Hmm. And that's kind of weird. Delete these keys. I'm getting a Euler rotation on here, and I really don't want that. Euler is when you go past like 180 or 360 degrees. Everything. So then the rotational direction gets really weird. Okay. Wrist. See if we can get that pinch a little bit. And we'll do one finger. Okay. Oop. Okay. Let's take a look and take skin weights. Okay, so clavicle joint honestly probably needs to be taken down a little bit. So I'm actually going to take the value down here. Just going to paint that out. So we don't need to like move the entire shoulder area out. Really, the reason why we have the clavicle joint is so we can kind of get a better lift on the arm. See how it's kind of pulling at the neck right there? It's pulling out right here as well. So we don't necessarily need that. Okay, should help. All right. So let's go to the shoulder. Shoulder is going to be pretty localized to the bone itself. It doesn't need to cave in, but underneath the armpit. And we're just going to kind of localize that. That things looks better. That's coming out a bit too much. Yeah. Smooth this out. Okay, I think that works. Okay. So then we'll go over to the elbow. I think the elbow is actually looking pretty good. It's getting a little pinchy right here. So let's do place. No, yeah, shoulder. Place value. Hmm, no, it's not bad. Okay. This right here is kind of collapsing a little bit, so I'm looking at this elbow or this, elbow joint, and I'm just gonna bring that value down. I'll see how it kind of builds that back in. And I think for me, I think that's probably gonna be okay. Maybe take this out just a little bit, see how it kind of pops that back out. But, okay, I think that'll be good for the elbow. Basically, we just don't want it to pinch off into like a sausage or something. Um, I don't like how that one's doing that. Although this is going to be kind of hard to avoid, but what we I'm not taking you guys through it because it is a bit more complicated, but a lot of rigs will have what are called fall off joints along the forearm, so that there can be like a general fall off of the arm as it goes throughout here. So it's not uncommon to have that. Um, okay, let's take a look. So joint place. Yeah, and paint this out. Allow the wrist to kind of rotate a little more realistically. Okay. Just go smooth. Um, smooth here. We're good. All right, see how this goes. That looks pretty good. All right, now for the finger. A lot of deformation going on right here. Left middle finger joint. There we go. All right, so you can see here there's a lot of like extra influence going on in here. So we're going to take that value, take that out. A little bit stronger brush. Let's get harder brush. Just get rid of all that. Go to the next joint. Paint it all out. This one. Still got something. There we go. Something's kind of pulling it. Okay. Let's go through, see if there's any movement. I'm not seeing it. Okay, so let's take a look at the actual finger itself. Um, I'm going to actually take away from here, but I'm going to actually give it back over to the wrist joint. So I want to take down the opacity, bring up the value, and I'm going to paint in right around here. And just kind of reinforce like some of this area here. So that when the fingers lift, they don't collapse. They don't go in and collapse the hand, the wrist itself. So they're kind of moving everything right there. So if we go into the next joint, you'll see there's index joint. Yeah, you'll see there's like influence here. So I need to go in and replace set value to 0 and just take that out. So I don't need it pulling all of that out. One thing to be careful of, you'll need to go back and forth and check your influences because they will travel on you. Careful. So stuff that you paint out can kind of pop back in if you paint it out somewhere else and it has like nowhere else to go. So just be aware of that. Smooth, smooth. Index. That's good. Next one too. Let's see, that doesn't need. Doesn't need any influence right there, so that needs to be taken out entirely. So this joint, kind of like the toe joint, we're just going to kind of separate them and just going to paint around their individual areas. Take up this, replace. This region. We want the fingers to actually kind of fold a little bit over each other, get little creases. So we'll see how that looks. See, that's getting influence from somewhere because I took it out. I'm gonna go back to replace, full value, soft brush, paint this back in. Okay. Let's go back to the index joint. Careful. Small. See, there we go. Two. Okay. And what you can do is we can go over to say that middle finger. Say how it is going to pull in something out. Take that value out and just paint the heck out of that. Just get rid of it. This is one reason why when we were modeling this, I was suggesting having the fingers separate, spread apart a little bit, not like overlapping. It gets a lot harder to do this when you have geometry that is overlapping. Let's see how this looks. It looks good. All right. It's tedious, but you're going to do that for the rest of the fingers. And then once you're good, you can mirror the skin weights and then your hand should be good to go. So you're going to do testing for each individual finger. Okay. So make sure you do that. All right. Let's take out those. Delete. Okay. We'll do the face. All right. So I'm going to do an open mouth. Don't be frightened. Take this one's love. And also maybe world domination. I don't know. Let's see. Back All right, so this is going to be challenging, but you have to get that mouth to open, okay? So let's go ahead and just go back to paint skin weights. And we'll go up to the head center joint. And honestly, if it makes it easier, we could just paint the entire head. Yeah, that just might make it a little bit easier. Okay. Um, so then we're only painting the area that needs to be moving with the mouth. How about that? Let's just make this easy on us. Okay. It should be a little less panic attack inducing. But we still gotta paint that mouth, so we're gonna work through it. Okay. So let's get the underside. Okay. All right. So what we'll do, I'm gonna go ahead and kind of smooth this out. And what we're gonna do is go and start painting in the bottom of the mouth. Okay. And we'll do our place. Just kind of start painting this in. Oh, I gotta do jaw pivot joint. There we go. That's what I'm looking at. All right. Just start kind of pulling this down. And I'm not gonna go just kind of shove the brush up there. I'm just gonna like almost like I'm tickling it. Like I'm just kind of going up and just barely kind of getting up in that area. And you see it's kind of like dropping down slowly. That's what I'm looking for. Okay. Okay. Just like that. Easy peasy. Brush down a little bit. Get some of these areas here that are kind of like being a little bit troublesome. This guy. What I do is kind of like go click and drag up, click and drag up, click and drag up. Try that. See? There you go. This right here, this area that's kind of like popping down. It is we can go back to value, take that down to 0, and paint that out. Honestly, the result we're looking for is going to be kind of similar to like a rubber band. There's going to be influence from both the top and the bottom, on both the top and the bottom lips. But we want to kind of get this general like Muppet look going first. Then we go to smooth, brush, and I'm just going to go in and kind of smooth this. Okay. Because as you talk and move your mouth around, you'll notice that even though your jaw moves up and down, the rest of your face is actually kind of moving as well. Okay. So, yeah, we will mirror it, but I kind of just want to get the look going. Actually, that's not bad. It works. Okay, so we got the head center joint. So I'm going to go in and kind of smooth all this as well. So see how it's kind of like relaxing the corner of the lips. See, just like that. I'm going to go back to that jaw pivot. And I'm going to go ahead and smooth that some more too. That's getting a little bit up out of there. So I'm going to back in place and bring that back. So maybe where some of that artistry, that world famous artistry you guys have comes in. You're gonna have to kind of go in and finesse this. Now, we do have those lip joints, right? Remember, we have those lip joints. So I'm gonna go in and replace value. Put an add right there. Let's try. Actually, you know what? This one has influence over here, so I'm going to go to flood value 0. I'm going to flood that out. Yeah, let's add some. Okay. Bottom, same thing. 0 opacity, flood, and then go back up to value, kind of flip it, and we go and kind of add influence. Okay. And then we'll do the same thing for the upper lip. So I can kind of flood that out. Let's see, value 0, flood. And then paint that back in. Yeah. Smooth, smooth, smooth. Okay. Smooth there, there, and then do smooth as well. Okay. This blue is really low influence. So really what I'm paying attention to is kind of like when I test this, like what's moving. That's what I want to pay attention to. Okay. All right. Nose, let's get that nose in here. Head, just saw you. Nose, base joint. There we go. All right. Let's go to replace, flood it out. And then I'm going to paint. I'm just going to paint the nose in. So that nose wiggles. That's easy. Okay. Um, is that it? Is that it for the head? Oh yeah, the eyes. Yeah. Okay. So what I want to do is go and grab the eye center joints, grab the head uh, mesh, and I want to go into skin, edit influences, add influence, and I'm gonna actually lock the weights. So I don't want them to like initially add weight. All right, guys. So we are going to add influence because I'm going to lock the weight.
So
Add, and what we want to do.
yeah, I was just baffled off the word that chance, like, the supplier needs contacted. Here's all the recent email
Left
things or whatever.
right eye center joints. Okay. So see that they're locked, so I'm going to unlock them. Locking is becoming basically stop having weight added to them.
Yep.
And
And
then
then out of.
left eye, we're going to go replace opacity And then real low. Soft brush.
Because you're trying to help the slider, so it's gonna itself out, so it's nice
Just
and-
a little ring. So what we're trying to get here is when you move your eye, the membrane of your lid will roll around a little bit with that eye. Okay.
And if they're not getting it.
So we're just gonna do the same thing.
So they can pick it up from their bosses. And then if it's not their bosses, it's the boss's boss, and if it's from the boss.
Test it. It's probably gonna do too much. Oh, it's not bad. And we can do blinks.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So it kind of moves around with you. That's actually that works pretty well. It's very, very light. We want to keep it very, very light.
That's
Okay.
loss, but I think that's too much.
All right. Let's go ahead and go over to skin. Let me get everything real quick. Make sure it looks good. There's that little lip here kind of popped into place. All right, cool. So let's go ahead and talk about the clothing. So since we skimmed the clothing already, what we can do is go ahead and take the body geometry, the clothing geometry, and I'm going to do a skin. I'm sorry. Yeah, copy skin weights. So skin, copy skin weights. And so that's going to take skin weighting from the body and apply it to the dress. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing. Well, I'm not going to do the same because I don't want to deal with the toes. Actually, you know what? No. Yeah, these aren't even attached to the toes, so I can do the same thing here. So I can do skin, copy skin weights, and then we should be good.
Right, like I also.
My wife's in the background. She works from home. So,
Okay, so. I know you and Jennifer.
okay, so we ran into an issue here. So maybe I clicked things in the wrong order.
Like, was it
So,
her? I want to know who I need to be irritable because,
yeah, so let's try this again. So make sure it works.
yeah, okay.
I'm gonna grab the dress first. And the other one, I'm gonna grab the skin.
Out of.
The skin whites. Make sure this works.
Going on the damn sheet, related pots, I have the other damn five. So why the F was I not on this call?
That works better. Okay, cool. Notice the net kind of pulls out a little bit right there.
Which is what I think too, as well, so just like, why the F has specifically. Mine is also top.
No, we're fine.
No one.
I'm just gonna flip through all these and see what the highlights are. There we go. Cloud gold. Ooh, man, that cloud was a lot.
They can't go ahead and do that.
What is going on here?
Fires that they touch.
Ooh, okay.
It's not their, it's their mind. They never took ownership.
Okay. Yeah, let's back up. Something messed up here.
I'll scratch out after this. Because this is.
Okay. Stress more times. It really shouldn't be. Oh, why is it not working? Let's go to. Skin weights. Let's go in here. Closest point. I'm gonna do a reset just real quick. Make sure about that. Normalize. Copy. Yes, that still works. That works. Okay. Yeah, like that's what I thought it should be. It should be source destination, which source is going to be the body destination of the dress. I don't know why it's not doing, why it wasn't doing it. Okay. Source destination. Skin.
And I was the one that brought.
Okay, obvious good ones.
Like, way back when, I was just on computers, and then.
Test that, test that. Yeah, beautiful. All right, she's doing great. Now, it's gonna be a little wonky with the dress. But that may, but this is not gonna be like a fix for everything. Simply because this is clearly not, not perfect. Um, but it will get us halfway there. Um, yeah, so we can just halfway there, but you still probably had to paint some just to kind of fix extra problems. So, so I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of take out, I'm just gonna go with the groin joint and I'm just gonna go do a replace. I want the hips to have a little bit of influence here, but not a whole lot. I'm just kind of playing it with like right here down this area. Smooth. In all honesty, if I was going to animate this, I probably would have like maybe like a cloth simulation going on here where the dress would move dynamically, or I'd have like a series of joints that would come down the dress, and then I could animate the dress almost kind of like an octopus. Still strong. Yeah, I'm just gonna go to the hips and just take them out. Those strong. Replace capacity. Split out. Oh, it's not working what I want. That out. Okay. And then that's gonna be this one joint here. So that smooth. And so that moves. Makes sense. That's what she wants. And again, yeah, I mean it's a little simpler. She just has like pants, but she doesn't. She just has a dress, so that'll be just fine. Um, yeah, so I think we got everything. The mouth opens pretty well and close. Got the eyes moving, got the eyebrows moving. The hat, all of that is kind of attached. It should get good. Just move around, make sure everything's good. Okay. Make sure you twist all your fingers, test your toes, test your feet, just move everything around, move all the attributes. Make sure it works. Okay. Make sure it works before you turn this in. Someone will look at it and grade it as such. Also, take a look at your outliner. I do grade pretty heavily on organization for the outliner. Those are easy points. Make sure everything is underneath the chart group. Make sure you have it listed as geo, joints, con, and miscellaneous group. And then the only thing that's under geo group is geometry. Joints should only be underneath the joints group. Controllers should only be under the controllers group. And then the miscellaneous stuff like the follicles and ribbon spines and IK handles, those go under miscellaneous. Okay. And that's it. Save it. Take out any animation keys you may have had. Um, and then you'll turn this in. And then you're also going to turn in a play blast of this rig moving. Okay. So you'll so kind of like how I did the test keys, you're going to do that for both sides, showing the use of the IK FK switches for the arms. So you're going to show them switching back and forth, show the spine moving, show the character squatting, showing the movement of the knees, pick up the legs,
Okay.
check out all of the attributes for the reverse foot, move the character around. So think of this as like a demo of your character, okay, like a little demo reel, right? You're also going to show off blend shapes and show off the character can look around and blink left and right. Show the character can wiggle their nose, wiggle their eyebrows, wiggle their lips and tongue and teeth, and open their mouth and move their neck around. Again, also make sure to show, like switching back and forth. So kind of a little like, you know, celebration round, I guess, or celebration lap of your accomplishment of finishing up this rig, because it is a significant project. Not everyone can do this, and you guys should, slap yourselves on the back and give yourselves a round of applause, because you have a fully animated character. You could take in a character animation class with Willie or Melissa and say, hey, I made this. I want to animate this and be proud of it. Okay? So in terms of doing a play blast, you can play blast it in the timeline if you want to set all those keys, or if you are on your MacBooks, the MacBooks also can do screen recording through QuickTime. So you could just do a screen recording if you wanted to. If you're on Zoom, you could do a screen recording through Zoom and then just download the video. I think maybe like that might be a little bit easier than setting up all the keys, just showing, the functionality. So include that video, upload the video file itself to Blackboard. Don't upload it like to YouTube or anything, just upload the video file itself. And I think that'll be it. So congratulations. That's the last project.